again.
All right, so we'll move first to roll call. Clerk Treasurer Aldridge.
I'm here.
All right, we'll move next. Are there any additions to be made to the agenda? Hearing none, we'll move next to reading of minutes and approval. We have in front of you the minutes from the July 3rd, 2017 meeting. Land, do you have the remote?
Oh, I don't know, I forgot it.
Do we have one? Oh, wait, I'm in the wrong packet. Oh, no, that's the fire station.
No, that's the one.
Is that the one?
Yeah, it was held at the,
I got you.
in the fire station.
Okay. Do we need a motion?
Yes, sir.
I move that we accept the minutes for the July 3rd, 2017 meeting.
We have a motion. I will second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Move next to claims. We have claims in the amount of $797,735.54. Do you have any questions regarding the claims?
Yeah, I got questions. Sorry, Leanne.
No,
I'm in trouble.
what page are you going to?
Wait a minute, yeah, I gotta find where I am here.
You're supposed to have your questions organized.
That's about it. Okay, page 12.
Oh, yeah?
Well,
No, page 12. What did Peerless do on well 4? Thought they were working on well 3.
well,
No,
since
well,
I'm not Craig,
The pump, we were having pump issues with well 4, so they were working on the pump as well as the column pipe had 2 holes in it, I believe.
And they flushed it and cleaned it and
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now, one more question. The bottom of page 18. What is all that?
Wabash River Handyman,
Yeah,
that's Jeff Watson.
okay,
So if you look at the fund that it's taken out of, it's taken out of Fund 903, Buildings Community Center.
is that part of
excuse
the
me.
85,000 we,
No, that's, well, it can come out of that, it can come out of their private donations, however you do it. It all goes into one fund.
okay. But that's not part of the.
That's not labor,
gray-
that's just
gray wolf.
strictly parts that he has supplied to that building.
Okay. I move we accept the claims as submitted.
We have a motion. I will second to approve the claims in the amount of $797,735.54. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We'll move next.
I know, I'm gonna say something now because, and I should have before you voted on it, but I will make a notation now for your records. You have a claim in there for $530. And it was paid, I don't even know how it was, I assume we took it out of edit.
I think it's edit promotional.
But we paid for having that relay timed. We paid for 18 shifts to be put in the runner's shoes and the bibs for them to wear. And the mayor expressed to me, which I understand his feelings completely, that he feels the city needs to work with outside organizations as they promote the city. I do too, but I think when you rent that equipment to time a race and the participation, I think there has to be some accountability. You're using taxpayers' money. So we'll pay that claim, but I will pay it under protest because I don't believe it's a fair claim for us to be paying.
How many runners were there?
The timer sheet said 18.
So 500 divided by 18 is, did they charge them to run or to participate or?
Dick, I don't, and I tried to get some information from Julia, but Julia simply took the checks and put it in the bank. She didn't have any participation in
Who
it, so
sponsored the thing? I mean, is that the Opera House or who was it, you know?
I think it was a separate organization, wasn't it?
I don't know if it was sponsored by any one organization or not.
I don't know. Jake, I thought organized it, but I don't know if he had a committee he was working with.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think there was a committee outside of the Trail Task Force committee that was putting this on.
I don't, yeah.
But I also think it's, after a double homicide and promoting the use of the trails around Delphi, I think it was a good use for that, and trying to get people back out on the trails and utilizing the recreation areas we have here in and around the city of Delphi.
Did somebody approve that, or did you approve it?
I approved it to Jake
As an added expenditure.
as a promotional. So.
Okay, all right. I don't have a problem with that.
All right, we'll move next to department head updates. Do we have any questions for our department heads? Aaron, do you want to give a brief synopsis of what's happening at Riley Park?
What happened or what's happening? I assume everybody knows what's happened.
Yeah.
We're in the cleanup process. Slow, steady pace forward. So, we've got the restrooms cleaned out. We're making the first attempt at sanitizing the playground equipment. The new sidewalk that we installed has been power washed off. The Lions shelter was cleaned off, as well as the tables. They're being hit again today. We've swept the road numerous times. I hate to say it, but we need a little bit of rain so that the grass and the bushes and everything kind of gets washed off. And then we started hauling sand out of the volleyball court to get it replaced. And hopefully this week we'll start on the playground sand also. Get all that nasty sand out of there and put some fresh stuff in. So making slow, steady progress.
Is there anything different about the way the water came into the park than it had in the past?
No, it just breaches along the boardwalk there. So we'll have to evaluate underneath the boardwalk and see what we got. I know it came through on a couple spots through there. So we're gonna have to take a look at that probably.
You think it much came in from the north end, or I mean the east end?
That's where it primarily came from.
It looked
East
like
end and probably, there's a couple spots, what, a couple 100 yards to the west maybe, that looked like it came through too.
I'm talking about down by the scout cabin, that area down there.
No, it all came through
it was all underneath the boardwalk.
underneath the boardwalk.
Before it has come in on the east end down there.
Just east of the wall. That was,
Before they put the bridge, changed the bridge, so probably the water was higher down there. Have we talked about any kind of a method of draining the park or doing anything in that respect? The thought of what might be done in the future?
as far as draining it,
Yeah.
I thought about possibly putting a pipe in. That can go either way. You know, if you're gonna put a flap gate on it, if that thing fails, that could flood quicker, kinda like the annex does. We could probably put some redundancy in it, maybe put a sluice gate, inline sluice gate, as well as a flap gate. I
Would you
know.
pump out of that?
Well, it would drain. We were pumping before we could even think about opening any gates. We were actually pumping water before we'd even be able to open that thing anyway. So, I mean, we were a day ahead of that anyway. I mean, would it expedite things? Possibly, maybe that last day I wouldn't have to pump. You know, maybe we just pump around the playground, because the lowest area is actually in the playground area. And most of that park drains towards the west to about where the bathroom's at. Believe it or not, a lot of it will drain that way, so.
I think we ought to at least explore the possibility of putting a pipe in that could drain by gravity, also could be pumped. You know, you could pump out of the center of that place, either way. Because, I mean, it's only been a couple of days. If it was a week, it'd be pretty ugly. I mean, it was really ugly last time. I mean, water
Yeah,
stayed
last
in
time
there.
we didn't have the pump either.
True.
Yeah, so
True.
now we got, Dick didn't need his. This was a different flood. This wasn't brought on by the flooding of the Wabash. So Dick's problems weren't prevalent like they normally are when the Wabash floods. So he didn't have to use his pump, so we had the availability of two 6-inch pumps. So we got Riley pumped down really fast. I think we started Wednesday?
Wednesday at 7 a.m.
Wednesday at 7 a.m. and we were pretty much done by Friday. We were done by Friday. I left the guy in to pump the last little bit around the playground equipment. And then we let it dry all weekend so that we can get in there and make an attempt at cleaning things up, so.
Is there any damage other than the washout under the boardwalk?
No, a couple washouts there. I think most of our plants are gonna be okay. The grass looks like it's gonna make it. We'll have some patched areas where we're taking sand out, where we're going in and out in one location to try to remove some stuff, but I think everything's gonna be okay.
Was some damage to the suspension bridge, not much, just a few.
Yeah, a couple
floorboards.
boards. Real minor damage compared to what we've had in the past.
Is that a log?
Hmm.
What caused that
A
log?
tree coming down the creek.
There's just no way you can control those kind of things.
Be another one coming,
Another tree coming down,
right behind Dick Gardner's
is there?
next flood.
And we have,
Can we cut them up or something like that, cut them off? Or-
we've called NDOT about the trees that are stuck behind the bridge on US 421. They said the crews are on State Road 29 working now, and then they'll make their way over here when they're done with the work they're doing on that.
Yeah, because if you had one right behind another one, it could really get ugly, really ugly. Okay.
I like to come in, Aaron's guys, they've been working a little before sun up to a lot past sundown. What, coming in at 5:30 some days,
Yeah,
working
I was
till.
here at 5:30 this morning,
Till-
try to get ahead of the guys, but
They've been working hard to clean that park up and make sure we get as much plants living and get it cleaned up as soon as possible, get all the water out, so. They've been working real hard.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
When do you project the parks being reopened?
I really can't answer that, Dale. I don't want anybody in there. It's not sanitary. I don't want kids in there, and that sand is nasty, and I don't want them. It's supposed to rain this week, later on this week. I'm hoping if we can get through this week, maybe a couple weeks. I mean, like tomorrow we got yard waste, so I mean, I lose bodies there, but we're gonna try to get it open as soon as we can. I
Okay.
just don't wanna say because I honestly don't know, Dan.
Okay. Fair
It's
answer.
one day at a time and
Yeah,
do what we can, so.
that's fine.
Are you doing anything with the softball field, or is it just Riley Park? Because I know they had a lot of flood inside the concessions and stuff, and lost a lot of equipment. Are you helping sanitize any of that, or no?
The actual softball field in Raleigh,
The girls softball?
I don't have anything to do with
Okay.
that. They're gonna have to clean
Okay,
their
I
own
didn't
stuff.
know
Yeah.
if you guys did anything with that or not.
Yeah.
Chief, you wanna give a brief update of the information that was released today and what the police department's been doing?
Well, as you're probably aware of, the homicide investigation related to dispatch, so that's all out there right now. In relation to the flood, though, the chief, fire chief and I have been working on a plan for next time in case something should happen. And I'm working with EMA to create a emergency action plan so that we'll have something more firm and hard in place in case another flood occurs. And I spent a good part of the day with EMA working on that plan so that we'll be ready in case there's a future event. And we'll have a good plan to go into effect.
There probably isn't a question of whether we're gonna have another flood, it's
That's
just
being
when it is,
optimistic.
because
Yeah,
go back to 3, we've had at least 2 since then, and
sure.
that was a big one, but
Well, it's difficult to predict how it's gonna flood, and hopefully we'll do an impact assessment. We've got all the data of where floodwaters were at when certain flooding events happened around the city of Delphi, when it got up to Arnold Street, got in the annex, got in Riley Park. This was an abnormal flood in the fact that Wabash River wasn't nearly as high in comparison to average levels as Deer Creek was. We saw Robinson's Run was pretty high, but Rock Creek and Paint Creek were outside of their banks, which from what I've been told is abnormal to floods in the past. So it's going to vary, and it's going to depend on chief and the police department and the fire department watching flood levels and keeping an eye on things each time. But hopefully I think we had a good plan in place this time with in terms of when we were going to call NIPSCO and Duke to start pulling meter bases, when we're going to start telling residents to evacuate down along Water Street and Cook Street.
And all
Luckily
those
we
things-
didn't get to that.
All those things will be included in the plan, so we'll have trigger mechanisms in place so that water level reaches a certain point, and then we'll know what to do when and who to call, and get things moving fast enough to make sure people are evacuated safely, and we'll have to get people out during flooding. So I'd rather get them out ahead of time, or ask them to leave ahead of time before we get into a flood situation, so we don't have to get somebody out.
There's no water in Water Street.
There's no water on Water Street, everything was worked out nicely.
It's about 18 inches from the lowest point on the interurban trail.
Did the interurban trail help? And they built that up some, I guess.
They built it up some, I believe, towards the east. Towards the west, it's pretty much on grade with street level.
Lowest point is close to Hamilton Street, so that's the point we watch the closest.
Dick, do we have anything?
We got lucky this time. Actually, when all the floodwaters were up, Water Street sewer was in the pipe, so we weren't affected. Well, Cottage Street lift station was surrounded, so we had some issues. In situ form, the day of the rains, Monday I think it was, didn't that when it rained? Big? They did the lining underneath the parking lot at Old Arby's. So I can,
Yeah,
I call it Old Arby's.
Shows how old you are.
So I think the only thing left on that project, they have 2 or 3 manholes they're gonna recondition. Manhole down by Save-A-Lot is gonna be reconditioned, and where they started, trying to get my streets, Illinois Street, maybe when Illinois Street goes down. I think that's where they started, they're gonna rehab that one, so. That's about it, just playing with the water.
Any questions for our department heads? We'll move next to new business. The first item is proposal for use of the old Hamilton Street Bridge as an art installation at Trailhead Park. I believe, what did I do with that? Oh, yeah, I gave you that. So a citizen that helps quite a bit with our parks came up with a proposal to create an object d'art. She probably says it better than I do. It sounds French. But from the arches of the old Hamilton Street Bridge that was crashed down sometime in the 90s, 96, maybe 97. That's been sitting in our parks building since it was built. So her proposal, and she just wants to get the feel from the board before she goes much further with looking into cost and putting a lot of resources towards this. If it's something that we would entertain, if the price comes back right. So what she's got is using the 2 big arches and putting them at some angle that looks pleasing to the eye, with one of the 2 builders' plaques in between them. So it'd be almost it would look like a contemporary piece of art, utilizing the historic bridge. I think she's included some photographs and.
Everybody know what we're talking about? Hamlet Street Bridge on the north end had a lot of fretwork, okay, and all the gingerbread stuff. And when the Hamlet Street Bridge got knocked down by Duke Energy, wasn't Duke Energy then, was it?
PSI.
PSI then. When they got knocked down, we went up and cut all that fretwork off, because we thought, and they were gonna tear it down and crash the bridge, which they did. So we went out and cut it off of there, and it ended up in the city building, in the Parks building down there. And we just kinda rediscovered it. I knew it was someplace, but this is a proposal to take that material, and there's a big long section of fretwork, plus there's two big half arches that look like that. And then there's some gingerbread stuff. There's a plaque that says Lafayette Bridge Company 1891, which that's when that bridge was built. And they want to use that out there as an entrance to the park.
Yeah, to Trailhead Park. So the
Trailhead
decorative
Park.
span would be a installation for the entrance, and then those spoked arches would be some sort of decorative art piece at the Trailhead Park. And we discussed various places and locations that it could be put. Riley Park, one concern would be the flooding, but Trailhead Park is a little bland, and this could be used to spice up this area, and maybe open the door for more contemporary art pieces out at Trailhead Park in the future. I think it's a good use of a bridge that's been sitting for close to 20 years, if not a little more.
That's a long time ago. I know Ross Strebeck and I went up in a bucket truck and took a torch up there and cut those pieces off. And then I just really forgot about what happened to them. And we rediscovered them. I think they ought to be used for something. They're history, they're part of our history, and they're pretty cool looking. And they're 100 years old. No, 126 years old.
All right, well, I would make a motion that we support the use of the Hamilton Street Bridge as an art installation and an entrance to Trailhead Park.
I would second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
So we're gonna do the feasibility and
Yeah, she will proceed with looking into the feasibility, how much it would cost, and then come back to us at that point. But it wouldn't make sense for her to invest a lot of time and energy until she knew we were okay with moving forward with the project. So the next item of business I have is the awarding of the West Monroe Street Storm Sewer Project. This project arose when we were doing the sanitary sewer projects on West Monroe Street. F&K came back before they were supposed to fill in the trenches and stated that we could get an overlay on the entire roadway for pretty much the exact same cost as what it would be to fill those trenches in. Is that
I believe so.
so Superintendent Lyons went out and looked at the feasibility of an overlay. It wouldn't make sense to do an overlay without doing the curb, which is in pretty bad shape on some portions of the north side of the road and is non-existent on the south side of the road. When looking at doing the curbs, we discovered, or I discovered, and Aaron might have known already, but the storm sewer and old clay tile is immediately behind the curb. So it would be almost impossible to tear that curb out and slip a new curb without damaging the old clay tile, which had been fractured or collapsed in some portions of it, I believe, when they were working on the sanitary project. So we looked at Aaron's storm sewer budget and what we believe we'll have remaining at the end of the year. I think it was $85,000. Curb and gutter has roughly $40,000 we anticipate at the end of the year. And we've got $56,000 or $59,000 and repaving and resurfacing. So we solicited quotes or estimates, whatever is required by the Indiana Code. We sent invitations to 3 companies, that is Milestone F&K and Grade X Incorporated. I included the email from Grade X that said that they don't have any pipe crews in that area and it wouldn't be economical for them to give us a quote. We have a quote from F&K, which I need to calculate.
Okay, 84,
Should be 82,896.
82. That includes the curbs and the overlay.
No,
No.
those are separate items. This is storm one.
So this is strictly storm. The curb is under the $50,000 amount where we would need to solicit pricing. So the total on the F&K quote is $82,896. The quote on the Milestone, or the price on the Milestone quote is $81,500, and that Grade X Inc. did not provide a quote.
So what are we doing? Are we doing the curbs and the overlay?
We will.
And the storm?
Well, the overlay is already included in the cost of Dick's project.
Okay.
The curb we're going to award separately from the storm.
Correct. That's under my local contract for my curb and sidewalk fund, so.
Right.
But yes, you'll have the storm line that's fixed, which will allow us to come back through and split the curb. And then we can do the driveway approaches, and then his project is gonna cover the asphalt work.
Are you gonna put curbs on both sides?
Yes.
So the curbs run from Save-A-Lot to,
This section is gonna be from Hamilton
It's just,
to
it's just that
basically
first
Illinois.
block, isn't it?
Correct.
Illinois to Hamilton.
Illinois to Hamilton, okay.
And we do have some structures in there for the south side of the road to tie into the north.
Yes, I was just gonna do the north side, but after they drew the pretty picture and I looked at it, I realized that that's a lot of water going, 500, 600 feet to catch only one structure. So I had to put 2 extra structures in.
So if we approve these 2 items, plus his overlay,
This we don't need to approve. We approved it. It's just an amendment to the contract. Instead of filling the trench, we're doing an overlay.
so if we approve these 2 plus his, we'll get new curbs, an overlay, and we'll get the storm sewer fixed. We'll get all 3 of those
More or
things.
less.
Okay.
Yes. And approving this, we'll proceed with slipping curb under the contract. Well, the process will go curb tear out, storm tear out, storm reinstallation, slipping curb, then do the overlay.
Yeah, probably, they might, yeah, I'd have to work with them on that, and see if they want the curb out first or what they wanted.
Yeah.
And so the difference on these bids is 1,000, 2,000, something like that? You said 81 and the other one?
$1,396.
Is there any reason not to take the low bid on this, Aaron?
No, I'm fine.
And Milestone is also doing their F&K is actually 7 out to Milestone to do the overlay on the roadway once it gets done.
We need a motion.
I would take one.
I move that we contract with Milestone to do the storm sewer, the curbs,
Let's just stick with the storm sewer for right now.
okay, the storm sewer, and the other will be handled, overlay will be handled,
Yeah, it's already
Differently?
contracted.
okay. Is that enough?
Sure. I will second, and I'll restate the motion. So, to award the contract to Milestone for 12-inch storm sewer on Monroe Street in the amount of $81,500. That sounds good to you?
Sounds good to me.
Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. We'll move next to the levy project change orders. There are 5 of these. I will sum them up as best as I can. Change order 5 in the amount of $12,266.50 was for a weir redesign. The weir as designed originally would be hard to maintain. Aaron couldn't get his backhoe to that area to scrape along the sides and clean any debris that we have on the weir.
More or less the location.
Everybody know what a
also.
weir is? Okay, I didn't know.
So we talked to F&K and BF&S to see if it was feasible to move that weir. And they stated it was, and it would be a $12,266.50 change order, which we thought was reasonable, considering that we could do maintenance on that weir and we could do cleaning on that weir for a long time to come. So that's the first change order. You just want to do these
Do we-
all.
Do we need to approve each one of these separately? Is that what you
Yeah, we
said?
probably should.
I move that we approve the change order number 5 on the weir relocation and redesign, $12,266.50.
I will second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
With F and K.
Yes. We'll move next to change order 6. This is a negative change order in the amount of $5,515. The justification, some of this, we did change order number 1, which was a negative change order as well, and they found some other items. I believe the non-domestic fittings on the air release structure. A pipe culvert will be deleted due to current drainage patterns around the pump station. And the contractor used revetment riprap as opposed to riprap with a size of 1 cubic foot. So there's a difference in trucking, which resulted in $340 of that $5,515 negative change order.
I move we accept that negative change order for $5,500.
I will second it. We have a motion and a second to approve change order 6 for negative $5,515. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll move next to change order 7. This is a change order for roof structure reinforcing steel modification. So during a site visit, they reviewed the reinforcing steel details for the cast-in-place roof deck. They were concerned about the planned reinforcement around the pump hatches on top of the pump station. They consulted with structural designers and decided to revise the detail to allow for more reinforcement around the pump hatches. So this is change order 7, the amount of $3,230.85.
Is that something that BF&S should have, did they design that?
They did design it. I don't know if this takes into account, we added an air release, or a hatch over the air release valve. So I don't know in how many different locations they added the reinforced steel.
This is to support the top and where the hatch is.
Yes, sir.
I move that we accept that redesign for the lift station roof deck of $3230.85.
We have a motion. I will second to approve change order number 7, the amount of $3,230.85, described as roof structure reinforcing steel modification. Do we have any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?